Okay, so this is going to serve you as a review for your test. So basically, I'm going to show you what you will be tested on. I won't be any word problems, but they would just be the way to do or strategies in order for you to solve from one form to another. So remember, this review is about converting a fraction to a decimal and a decimal to a fraction. So make sure that you complete the discussion post before you start your test, because that proves to me you watched this video, and that also proves to me that whatever you might be understanding about this video too. So go ahead and make sure that you watch this. Take some notes, because I might be asking specific stuff on this discussion. So make sure you have all the paper, pencil to take some notes. So here's the first one. We have a decimal and we want to convert it to fraction. So it says change these numbers, decimals, to fractions in simplest form. So remember, when we have this, you have to go by place value. So you have your ones place, which is your whole number. So if there's a whole number, there's a number going to be there. Then you have your tens place, then you have your hundreds place, and then you have your thousands place. So make sure that you understand those place values, because that's going to help you out. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and use my place value chart. So this is place value. So I'm going to go ahead and put whole number right here. That way it'll help you out. And you could use this strategy during your test too. So here is what you're going to do first. So first you're going to go ahead and say 0.25. So I'm going to use this 0, there's a point, 25. So then I'm going to go ahead and read it. So that's 25 hundredths. So that means I'm going to put 25 over 100, and then I'm going to simplify it. So by simplifying, I mean you find a number that 25 and 100 have in common. So that means I'm going to divide 25 by 5 and 100 by 5, because they have it in common. So 25 divided by 5 is 5, and 100 divided by 5 is 20. Well, I see that I could still simplify 5/20ths, so I'm going to do it again. So 5 divided by 5 and 20 divided by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. And it makes sense, because I know that 25 cents is 1 quarter, and a dollar has 4 quarters, so that means that you have 1 quarter. So make sure that you remember this is the same as 1/4. So let's try the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this to help me out. So if you need to do this during your test, you may do so. Make sure you do use your strategies that you need in order to be able to be successful in getting a 70 or above on your test. So let's start with the decimal they have it. So I have 1 decimal 2. So I would read it as 1 and 2/10. So because there's a whole number, that means I have a big number, which is your whole number, and 2/10. Now I'm going to simplify it, but I'm going to go and just use the fraction. I don't need to do anything to the 1. That's going to remain a whole number no matter what. So I'm going to divide it by 2. Oops, made the mistake. So it's going to be divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that means that this is going to be equivalent as 1 and 1/5. So whenever you have a whole number, remember, you just write it as a whole number, but you don't do anything to the whole number. You only simplify the fraction. So let's try the last one. And the last one, I'm going to go ahead and erase again, so I could use my place value chart. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the numbers. So I have 0, 7, 8, 0.78. So I did that here. So now I'm going to read it. So 78 hundredths. So I'm going to go ahead and write 78 over 100. So I could simplify it. They're both even, so that means I'm going to simplify it with 2. So 78 divided by 2 is 39, right? Yes, 39. And then 100 divided by 2 is 50. So here I can't simplify 39/50ths anymore, or 39 out of 50. So my answer is 39/50. So basically, if you use your place value chart, that's going to help you when you're trying to convert a decimal to a fraction. So make sure you're taking notes, because I will be asking you about what you know or what strategies you used. Okay, so here is now converting a fraction to a decimal. So what we're doing when converting the fractions to a decimal, I'm going to show you only one strategy, and that is top in, bottom out. I'm not going to show you the other strategies because this is the one that always works for them. So what that means is top in means that the number on the top is inside and the number on the bottom is outside. So let's, for example, and that's because we're doing long division. So you have 4 out of 5. So what you're going to do, you're going to do the division box, put the 4 inside and the 5 outside, because 4 is on top, it goes inside, 5 is on the bottom, so it goes outside. So now I know that I can't divide 5 into 4, so I'm going to put a 0. So 0 times 5 is 0. So 4 minus 0 is 4. Now I want to continue dividing, and in order for me to do that, I'm going to add a decimal, bring it up, and I'm going to add 3 zeros, and just because I might use them, I might not, you don't have to use all of them because it doesn't make a difference here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the 0 down. So 5 into 40 is 8 times, so I'm going to take away 40. So your answer is 0 here. So I don't need these zeros, so you could just leave them there. You could add them if you want, but it's not going to make a difference. So your answer here is 0 and 8/10. So 4/5 is equivalent to 0 and 8/10. Now the next one is a little bit more difficult. So let's go ahead and do the same thing, same strategy. So it's going to be top in, so the 3 goes inside, bottom out, the 8 goes outside. I'm going to add my decimal because I know I'm going to need them. So I'm going to go ahead and divide. So 8 into 3 is 0 times, so 8 times 0 is 0. 3 minus 0 is 3. Bring the 0 down. 8 into 30, well, let's see. I could use a strategy where I'm going to be adding. So 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 8 is 24, plus 8 is 32. So that went over 30, so I can't use that last 8. So I know I have 1, 2, 3 8s that I added. I'm going to do 8 times 3, and it tells you it's 24. So I'm going to subtract that. 10 minus 4 is 6. 2 minus 2 is 0. So then I have to bring the next 0 down. So now I'm going to do 8 into 60. So I stayed off at 32, so that's number 4. I'm going to add more, that's 40. Add another 8, that's 48. So that's 5. This is 6. Add another 8, that's 52. No, wait, 56, sorry. So that's 7. Plus another 8, that's 64, that's 8. So that went over, so I'm not using that. So it's going to be 56. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7. 8 times 7 is 56. Subtract that. 10 minus 6 is 4. Bring the 0 down. Now it's 8 into 40. Well, I know I went up to 64, so 40 has to be somewhere in here. There it is. So that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means it's 5. 8 times 5 is 40. So your remainder is 0. So that means 3/8. So I'm going to put it right on the bottom in a different color so you could see it. 3/8 is equivalent to 375. Oops, 75 thousandths. So 375 thousandths, that's the equivalent of 3/8. So basically, long division is what you do in order to solve for fractions to decimals. So we just reviewed how to convert a fraction to a decimal and a decimal to a fraction. So what you're going to do in the discussion post, you're going to tell me what's one of the things that I did, that I showed you, that should have been in, that you should have known already. Say something that you learned, something new that you learned. Now there's one thing that I want you to realize is that when you have improper fractions, so when you have an improper fractions, you need to be careful with that because they try to trick you with it. So you want to make sure that you understand it. So say, for instance, I have 5/4. Now you know that's improper fraction. So what you're going to do, you're still going to do top in, bottom out. So you're still going to divide it to make it into a decimal. So I'm trying to get a fraction into a decimal, but it's an improper fraction. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and do the 5, top in, bottom out. Now in this case, I know 4 goes into 5 one time. So I'm going to go ahead and do my long division process. Now here, oops, it's not 0, it's actually 1. Here you're still going to add your decimal and your zeros because we have leftover. And whenever we have a remainder, we don't put R1, we continue dividing. So you're going to bring down to 0. So 4 into 10 is 2 times. So 4 times 2 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. Add another 0, bring it down. And you could add as many zeros as you need in order to solve this. So 4 into 20 is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. So that's 0. So that means 5/4, 5 out of 4, is going to have a whole number. So your answer is 1 and 2500. So be careful with that because they'll try to trick you with that information. Okay, so now another thing what they do is they make you think also, and that is they actually have you do your decimal. And like we did before, so make sure that when you're doing your decimal, you're just using the fraction to change it to, you're using your decimal parts to change it to that. So if I have 1 and 39 hundredths, well, remember that 1 is still going to be there, and you have your tenths place and your hundredths place, so that's going to be 39/100. So if you notice, can I simplify this any further? I know I can't divide it by 2. I know I can't divide it by 3. I could divide the 39 by 3, but not 100. I can't divide it by 5. I can't divide it by 7. So that means this is it. So my answer is 1 and 39 hundredths. So be careful with those tricks on your test. Be careful with those tricks on the START test because they'll try to do that to you. So make sure that this is improper fractions, so I want you to talk about that in your discussion piece too. So good luck on your test and hope you ace that test.